Hello everyone, welcome to another match in the A Division. This one between Breppert and hakha3. I'm hakha3 and I'm joined in commentary by JNails.
Howdy.
So I got the standings up here, looking at the A Division. Um, well, Hakka's near the top with 4 more wins than losses, so definitely he's on
Yeah.
your tail, on your heels.
From an unbiased perspective, I think we're rooting for Hakha to lose a few points here,
Mm,
but not for Breppert to win enough that he takes first.
yeah, Breppert also has
Maybe like
a
a 4-2 in Breppert's
slightly.
favor.
That would be ideal from the hypothetical
Ideal.
perspective of a person.
Of a neutral, unbiased observer, yeah, like a
Yeah,
spectator.
at the top of the A division, maybe.
That would be
Uh,
the most entertaining outcome for the fans.
okay. Interesting. And Hakka has joined the table. Have you played Hakka yet? Looks like yes. You've
Let's
got a
find out.
4-2 record. Okay.
Yeah, I think we played way back at the very start.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Game one. Joust and
Looks like
Peasant.
yeah, not a whole lot going on here aside from those two cards. Uh,
I mean,
Presumably want to
those
get
two cards happen to bring a lot of other cards into into the kingdom.
yeah uh those 13 cards, I suppose.
My inclination is to skip University. Probably
Absolutely. I think University is good when there's a good draw card that you can gain large numbers of copies of, because Universities itself draw negative.
precisely.
That doesn't exist, and you don't need the terminal space, so it's just a pretty weak gainer.
Yeah. We're definitely going to want to play with Ratcatcher. Would you open with Ratcatcher?
I think Peasant Ratcatcher sounds like a pretty reasonable opening. Either that or double Peasant.
Yeah, the only reason
Cut first
why I might
card.
think about holding off on Ratcatcher is because it is really nice on like turn 3 or 4 to be able to play a peasant and then buy like peasant Ratcatcher. You probably want to play with 2 Ratcatchers anyway.
Yeah, I would not mind a few Ratcatchers. I
Uh,
think
but
double peasant is the better opening if they line up correctly. Like you find one peasant in each hand, maybe hit 4 twice and buy like a boatload of rat catchers. Peasant rat catcher, I think, is the safer opening. It's fine if they collide, plus your peasant's less liquid bottom deck.
but it looks like Breppert opens with Cutburst instead, and Huck has the opportunity to open Pickaxe, which of course makes a lot of sense. Ooh, Hakka
Yeah, I think
gets that
that's
potion.
probably a good opening. Haka, that's that's not
It's
correct.
almost like they weren't listening to us.
Yeah.
Is
Um,
President all that good in the kingdom? You know what? I hadn't actually paused to consider that. Having
I'll put it this
considered
way.
it, I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, I think this is like one of the weaker peasant kingdoms on average. Like, there's not a bunch of cards you opponent have a million copies of. It still looks like the best thing you can be doing early on.
And it also
Like there's
looks
at least
like
one or two
you,
stacks of cards.
ideally, you want to disciple a renown. That seems like a really good thing to do late game.
Yeah, you get Disciple and Renown, everything costs 4 less. Um, but it's also not competing against all too much early game. Like, if there was something else that just spiked Joust plus Province early, maybe you could make a beeline for the provinces. But like, I'm not seeing what that is.
Ooh,
Cut
Breppert.
per silver is a better opening.
Oh, Breppert was considering a trade here. Maybe they still are, but just for 1 silver. I do like the trade, because once you have the pickaxe, it's very nice to like get those silvers instead of coppers.
Yeah.
But it looks like the cut purse did not live long, so Breppert's plan perhaps all along was cut purse helps me hit 5, so I can pick up a pickaxe, and then that cut purse is gonna get pickaxed into a shield. Uncomfortable for the cut purse, but I think the right play.
Right, Haka has got his first university.
Like, yeah, it's just not a lot of good things to gain with the university. You gain jousts, which are fine, and that's the end.
Yeah. I guess I don't think university is doing that much more to get you a bunch of jousts really quickly than just buying them. Like you had to buy a potion, then you had to buy a university, then you had to draw the university just to gain a joust.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't. This it's not obviously a good teacher board to me, but if I just so happen to be in the position of Hakha and I happen to have a potion and universities in deck, a teacher would look more attractive because I could think, oh, maybe I'll just get like 7 jousts and put plus card on them, and that's really good. Thinking
I
ahead.
think my money would be on getting a teacher here. Uh, there's not like the best case for sticking with disciple. I think is a kingdom where it's really strong. You have a diversity of really powerful action cards. You want to be able to disciple a bunch of those. The game's going to end too quickly for you to take teacher and benefit from it. This does not look like the fastest kingdom as far as peasants go. The rewards are an okay disciple target, but you actually don't get a bonus copy of them because only one in the pile. And there is at least one stack of cards you're probably gonna have a few copies of in the form of jousts. I think I would get a teacher and put plus card on joust most likely.
That makes a lot of sense for Hakka. I'm not sure how much it'll make sense for breppert, but we'll see how the game progresses. Because I just don't think breppert is gonna have an obviously good teacher target. So I think if I'm breppert and I kind of get ahead on the rewards from Joust, I'll probably just skip teacher and just use my like 2 disciples to just amplify the power of the very strong reward cards.
Let's see that.
Probably second Joust for breppert. I think I'd
If you
want to.
wanted to make an extra money off your pickaxe, you could always play copper first and then pickaxe last, so that you'd have 7 money. And like if Breppert were deliberating between 7 and 8, I think that would make sense. Like, oh, maybe I can forego trashing and copper to get an early province. But I don't see much benefit in hitting 7 there. So trashing copper seems clearly correct.
No. Um, yeah, as breppert, I think I'm looking to pickaxe the warehouse at some point, not too far from now.
By day, it's a house. By the light of the full moon, it's a loot.
I guess it'll help you collide Joust with province. So it's got that going for it.
I still don't like these universities one bit.
So Mr. Guy in the chat, Mr. Guy says Mr. Guy 888, excuse me, says feels like non-peasant stuff.
Which Mr. Guy we're talking about?
Gets jousts lining up with provinces faster. I don't think I agree with that because, yeah, sure, peasant doesn't really help you hit price points, but soldier is good at helping you hit 5 for joust. Fugitive is good at like cycling through your deck, potentially even pairing joust with province, although I don't expect either player to have fugitives in their deck by the time that they have province. And then disciple, it pairs good with the rewards from joust. Maybe it doesn't actually help you pair joust with province. I guess I'm just not seeing a whole lot of non-peasant lines that look attractive.
Beercall also likes the potion open. I don't. I don't want university here, not one bit.
Yeah. All right, we've got a province gained. Looks like
How has Breppert not hit 8 yet? I feel like his deck was much better designed to hit 8.
Breppert
This
hit
hand's probably
8
not gonna do that.
on turn like 7 or something.
Oh, did he? And he just passed it up.
Yeah, didn't even have a joust at that point. So maybe it was
Turn
even
7,
earlier.
he just bought a warehouse. So I don't think that was
Well,
it.
that's not the turn then.
turn 6, he bought a
Yeah.
joust and a
Yeah,
rat
yeah, yeah,
catcher.
that's the one.
So he had extra money that he didn't spend.
Yeah, one extra copper. I
He
think that was the correct play on turn 6, but
sold it for 2 money. Pickaxe.
so breppert
Additional
goes
money.
straight for the teacher and doesn't want an extra warehouse. Presumably because they already have 2. That's a little bit strange because they can always pickaxe an extra warehouse, but here we are. Yeah, I'm gonna say what is setting breppert back is these warehouses, to be quite honest.
Are all 3 of the warehouses in Breppert's deck? Yes, apparently they are.
Yeah. Warehouse is kind of bad. Especially when you don't have draw. Ah!
I think
Shoot, if breppert had kept the warehouse, they would have been able to pickaxe it and hit 5.
could have pickaxed the teacher.
They didn't know that that was going to happen, I think. At the time they played Fugitive. Yeah.
I think
But
one
still,
warehouse is a number of warehouses. 3 warehouses is no, one of the warehouses is in Hakha's deck. 2 warehouses does seem like a lot of warehouses.
so yeah, I think breppert should have discarded the copper instead of the warehouse with their Fugitive. They didn't have the pickaxe in hand, but they ended up drawing it, and that would have given them a much better turn.
Unfortunate order of cards here for Hakha. Doesn't find the warehouse until after playing the joust, then draws into the province.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's not over yet. I mean, Breppert has a teacher down.
Yeah, but
Hakha,
Hakha has what, 6 or 7 jousts?
that is a lot of jousting.
So, like, what is this teacher doing? Like, breppert has 2 jousts?
Those numbers don't add up. Oh, I guess if it's 7 joust, yeah.
I don't think it's very good. No, no, no. Okay, okay. So breppert did get 4 jousts. All right, it's not the end. Oh,
So this teacher is like a royal blacksmith worth of draw.
that I don't like that comparison.
Seems like a great comparison to me.
So Hakha doesn't really have deck control. They'll probably get a reward here.
Yeah, I think discipling this joust is clearly correct, even though you don't gain anything off of it.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
getting to play joust in extra time is so much better than any other card in your deck you could conceivably want.
You just don't even
You don't want more warehouses.
Yeah, you don't want more warehouses.
Yeah.
You already have one that you should pickaxe this turn. So I guess breppert,
Yeah.
breppert just doesn't have. What are you even doing with this teacher now? I guess you can put it on. What are you even doing with this teacher?
Plus action on warehouse.
I think this teacher might become a loot at some point.
I could totally see the teacher becoming a loot at some stage for sure. Yeah, I think plus action on warehouse is a totally defensible choice for this next teacher, just because then like you gain a house Carl or something out of the reward pile, and you can play it.
Yeah, you can probably do that anyway by discipling a joust, but sure.
Wait, allegedly jousts are 5/5. Can someone confirm that?
Oh, we should just count the number of jousts that were played by breppert.
All right, clearly Hakha has 0 jousts, judging by this turn.
Yeah. I think breppert played 5 jousts, so. Huh. That's really surprising. I just missed all those joust buys.
Have I mentioned that University is not very good here yet?
You have. It's really bad now.
Yeah.
Did Hakha pick up another pickaxe? Because if so, I approve of that. They need to pickaxe their potion. Alright, what's the first reward?
I say House Carl.
I like Coronet here.
Wait. Wait, I'm gonna change my mind. I thought he had a teacher down.
I think so, yeah. I think Cornet looks great here.
Hey, I'm missing something. He played a teacher,
He just didn't call
and
it.
he didn't call it?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. He didn't need it. I think the plus action
Sure you
doesn't
do.
matter. Look, you have plus actions right now.
I'm
He's
bewildered.
he's probably planning to pickaxe this warehouse. But not anymore. Alright, so now we pick up the Renown.
Renown.
Yeah. We can even
Huge
disciple
anti-synergy
it.
with pickaxe.
Anti-synergy with what?
Pickaxe.
Okay.
If you disciple Renown, the only card you can pickaxe for a loot would be your province.
You know I lost a Dominion game recently because my opponent pickaxed 2 provinces. I felt very
I remember that
betrayed.
one. Which match was that?
I was playing against Person Man. Is this a game?
That's right.
This is a game.
Yep.
Alright. Don't get university on a kingdom like this.
We don't need no education.
Yeah, so I thought that the one advantage of the university deck would be getting more jousts. That didn't even happen.
Yep. Alrighty. We got plenty of draw here between Crew, Margrave, and Seer. The main village is Mining Village. You got trashing, lots of trashing. Scrap, Sentinel, Sentry, Altar, Farmland, kinda. And then plus buy is a little bit limited. It's just Scrap and Margrave. Never mind, Margrave is plenty of plus buy.
Seer plays pretty
pretty normal
nicely
engine.
with Scrap, right? Because like it works nicely with the silvers, the scrap gains.
Yeah, I think gaining silvers off of Scrap looks like a pretty reasonable payload here. I think you open with Scrap Sentinel. That looks entirely obvious on the 4-3. On the 3-4, you could contemplate Guardian into Sentry, but that seems worse to me.
Hmm. There are definitely some bad draws with Scrap Sentinel.
Are there? I
Yeah.
guess the Golden Sombrero.
Well, I was
Bad
just
draw.
thinking Scrap Sentinel with no estates in hand, especially if it's turn 4.
Not only do you get to trash 2 cards, you get 2 whole victory points.
Huh? Oh,
Yeah, that's a lot of points.
I mean it's fine on turn 3. It's not.
I think if you open Scrap Sentinel and you don't see either turn 3, you probably buy a second Scrap because you know your Sentinel's going to trigger a shuffle and you're going to want to have a Scrap on top.
Yeah, I see that. I think it is the best open. So breppert has the option to do Guardian Sentry if they want. Eh. Now, if they had a 2/5, I would consider Guardian Altar.
Yeah, Guardian Ultra sounds good. I mean, Guardian's a card you're probably going to want here anyway, just because Margrave's annoying, so I don't hate adding a Guardian to the deck. And Sentry's probably a little better than Sentinel on average, but I think not enough to justify foregoing the much more direct double
So
trash open.
Hakha skips Sentinel, just goes for Scrap Silver.
Curious.
Mm-hmm.
So better at getting you to 5, but you're going to get thin much slower. I don't know, Sentinel's just such a good card. You'll trash all these coppers really fast, and then you can scrap it.
Yeah, it must be Altar here from Hakha, which is pretty good. But
He bottom decked the scrap, it looks like.
oh, yeah.
We'll see. So I guess that maybe the goal of Silver wasn't even to hit 5, it was to hit 6. And he's really wanted an early altar.
I don't know if that could have been guaranteed. I mean, it certainly couldn't have.
You just have to believe.
Hakha getting some bad draws, right? Now their altar misses the shuffle. This is pretty difficult to recover from, I want to say.
Yeah, I like Breppert's position a whole lot better. What's the first 5? Probably Seer,
Margrave.
you think? Maybe, yeah,
Oh,
Margrave's the
you
other option.
wanna like the opponent only has cards to trash from hand. Margrave attack is really nice.
They already had a Guardian. I got 2 Guardians.
Okay, force him to buy Guardians. Margrave
I mean, Haka
is
bought the
really
2
good.
Guardians not even for the attack. He just needed the money.
Yeah, well, had nothing left to buy. Had it like the turn 6 for Hakha was really sad. But now they're doubly protected from the Margrave that isn't being played this turn.
Yep. Got to maintain that duration balance.
Are nobody's got any arena points. This might be this might be Hakka's moment.
Hmm. Do you discard the scrap or do you scrap the silver?
I don't think scrapping the silver accomplishes much.
It just gets a little further through the deck.
Ooh. Okay, I was like, does Hakka even have a village?
I'm looking at this Margrave and thinking, man, if that were a seer,
Well, yeah,
that
of
would be
course,
one
if he
cast per
doesn't pair
campaign.
with your village, it's not good. But look at
Right, but
this
seer,
attack. That attack did
seer doesn't need
something.
that support. Did it?
Yeah.
I got discarded 2 estates, got to draw farther through their deck. Seems
Well,
like a pretty friendly Margrave to me.
okay. It's important not to look at the outcome, but what the expected value is. And look, Margrave looks good here. Margrave looks great here. Look at this attack.
To me,
Huh?
it's about the journey, not the
You
destination.
can't deny that attack.
He could have bought a Guardian if he wanted to.
Think Breppert's ever going to get an altar? It's a pretty good card here.
Uh, he has 4 copper left. Could be 3 here by the end of this turn, though.
Well, I think they were expecting that Sentinel would have helped them trash their coppers a little bit better. I don't know. I could go either way here with picking up an altar.
Altar looks reasonable. You trash a few coppers with it, and then maybe scrap it later if it ends up having no more targets.
Oh, the scrap where you don't have to choose which options you take. It's
Pleasant.
oddly
Just like scrapping
satisfying.
and copper.
Well, we just trashed the silver for no apparent reason. But okay.
He gained a horse.
Oh, okay. Horses are
Of
nice.
course, of course.
Of course. Hakha finally gonna get to trash some estates.
And gain another seer.
Do you play both these guardians? I only play one.
No. Yeah, I don't. I think you just play the one guardian. If you had 2 money, you could consider playing both of these and buying a new one. But I expect to hit 0 here. Scrap
You,
the state for a silver horse and just trash the copper into a seer.
yeah, that sounds good. Well, I don't even know about the silver. Could go card horse. I'm not entirely sure what's down there.
Scraping a 0 is not very satisfying. True, but scrapping one can be.
Why? I wanted plus card more than gain a silver, and I'm feeling that more after seeing what Hakha drew.
What? Oh, just because there's a bunch of junk down there?
There was junk down there, and you don't need the money right now. Like, you're not drawing deck. You don't have deck control, so getting a silver is premature.
I can see that. Uh, My instinct, not knowing what those bottom cards were, was just gain a silver. You're gonna want silvers at some point. If he had 3 dud cards coming up, that does seem like a pretty good case for maybe getting one off the top. Yeah, scrapping has 2 Ps. Scraping has the 1. I think that's a pretty general rule in English is the doubled consonants are what tell you that the vowel preceding them is a short vowel. Which I don't even know why they're called long and short vowels. That's what I always learned them as. I don't think they actually have any connection to length.
No.
Is that how you were taught in elementary school?
Yep, that's
Like
how they were taught.
a long and a short? I don't think there's any actual difference in length, but that's what they're called.
Well, I mean, some of them do. Certainly, I is longer than I, but it's like it's also a diphthong, so there's more
Yeah.
going on there.
A-E-I-O-U. I think 3 of those are diphthongs.
Well, certainly A and I are.
And O.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't know about all English accents, but at least in American, it's like an OU sound, like O, not an O. It definitely like watch the movement in your mouth when you say O.
Well, sure, but we'll think about it in a word like bold. I don't think. I think it's just a single
Bold.
vowel sound.
No, I think it's 2 vowels.
Hmm. We're gonna have to. We're gonna have a disagreement here.
And what's a word in this kingdom that has a long O in it? Is there really none? Gold. Oh, the L might change
Yeah, there
things.
you go. Gold. Oh, single vowel sound.
There's a boat in crew. Let me look up the phonetic spelling of boat.
So Breppert's got deck control pretty firmly established here. He's got a nice deck and is now figuring out what the heck am I supposed to do in this kingdom for payload. Came to the conclusion to buy a silver.
Look in the chat at how boat is spelled in the phonetic alphabet. You see there's an O and then the like funky looking horseshoe U.
Sure.
So there's 2 whole sounds there. Boat, not boat.
Okay.
See what they say about gold. I don't know if the L was going to throw things off at all. Yeah, same deal.
Hakha getting very close to deck control. Looks like they've got it here. Alright, and you can even scrap, gain a silver, and draw it up with Seers. This is looking like a good turn for
a
Hakha.
horse. A 2 victory point horse.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, why do you want the horse in hand? But yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Alright, looking good, looking good. Yeah, Hakka's got 5 Seers now, so their deck drawing troubles are coming to an end.
Is Hakha in the lead? What's happened? Look, I got a little bit distracted there for a minute.
I
How
think
did
it's
Breppert's deck not improve at all?
well, it improved a little, but the trouble is the payload here sucks. And Hakka having more coppers is a benefit at this point because they have more altar targets, whereas breppert is kind of out. No, maybe they have 1 copper. No. Yeah, Hakka's got 3 coppers left, so breppert has 0. They don't have any obvious altar targets. Unless they still have the sentry? They do not. Or sentinel. By the way, this is a rare kingdom where sentry goes unpurchased.
The sentry's gain rate. Let's find out. In what portion of kingdoms do you think the winner gains a sentry?
87%.
Let's see.
So Hakha in the same boat, trying to figure out what am I supposed to do in this
About
kingdom?
78%.
Hmm?
In about 78% of games, the winner gains at least one century.
That's it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm double checking your work.
It has fewer gains with Donate, Recruiter, Overlord, Pixie, Sanctuary, Cathedral, Chapel, Urchin. See, I think there's just like a decent number of really fast trashers where if you don't have the 5-2, you just open with that thing directly rather than trying to get to Sentry.
Yeah.
And then Overlord is always a real nasty one for any good $5 opener because you just buy the Overlord instead and then it doesn't show up in the stats.
So Hakka picks up 2 mining villages, which is interesting. On the one hand, that could mean they're looking to add a Margrave this turn. That also lets them use their scrap without wasting like a plus action mode, and can do a little more gain and play with both scrap and altar. And then of course it gives you that kind of like burst potential on the last turn. You can trash all the mining villages you have, whatever. So yeah, I think I like those mining villages.
Yeah, I think they're sensible. You probably want multiple Margraves just because it's the easiest way to get plus buy. You can always scrap for plus buy, but I think I'd rather be doing other things like getting me silvers.
So you see Breppert's situation?
Yeah.
Like it's awkward. They got deck control. And now they're like, what do I do?
Breppert still just has the one scrap.
You think more scraps would be better? Isn't it kind of
Well,
just
Hakha
like
just has the one scrap too.
isn't it just kind of like, oh, I don't think Hawkeye should have another scrap. They're still altering copper. That's great.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It just feels a little bit like treading water, like scrapping silver. It really doesn't accomplish much.
Well, you scrap the silver for a silver and a horse, and then you scrap the horse for another silver and a horse,
I
and
mean,
then each scrap is just gaining you silvers.
with Seer in the kingdom, it probably does pay off. But like on a kingdom without where the draw isn't quite as efficient as Seer, I feel like it's usually a mistake to try to like use scrap, get multiple scraps for payload. But yeah, Seer does change the equation because you can like play 2 scraps and draw up everything, like draw up 4 gained card with 1 Seer. Very efficient.
Yeah, I agree. In the average kingdom, scrap's best function is like you add one, you kill your estates,
Mhm.
and then it situationally does a little bit for you rather than being a main source of payload. But
Yeah.
here, your payload's otherwise lacking. For Breppert in particular, Altar's not doing so much anymore.
Mhm.
And Seer just makes you really want a bunch of 3-cost cards.
I think it makes sense to alter the Guardian probably into what I'm not entirely sure, but like you can just rebuy that Guardian.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe we alter the Guardian into a Seer, and then we buy scrap Guardian on player. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe another mining village. Because it's nice to not have to worry about plus actions with those scraps. Okay, well that's something you can. Yeah, that makes some sense. Okay, I think Breppert's going to be pretty action limited now. Maybe they're planning to scrap the altar, and that makes sense, right? If they scrap the altar, that is effectively like they don't have to worry about that terminal space anymore.
Yeah, I'd be happy to scrap the Altar at this stage. It's not doing that much. Fear Call really does not like something. Presumably Breppert's last play. You don't like scrapping the Guardian into silver?
I'm not sure. It looks like Furcole won't like scrapping altar though. I just don't think altar's doing a whole lot for Breppert anymore.
What does this Altar gain? I kind of just want another scrap.
Could be.
Scrap the horse. Gain a silver and another horse.
Yeah, you've got the 2 Seers in hand, so you can make use of another scrap here. In terms of piles, Seer and Mining Village are low, but there's no obvious third pile threat.
Guardian is very cheap to empty.
It is, but I think the plus buy situation, like no player has a bunch of plus buys, you know.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see a pile out next turn, but maybe in 2 turns, depending on what gets gained.
Like the important thing about the Mining Village is that
Do you need another Seer?
you do not, in
You're
fact, need another
overdrawing
Seer.
by 1,000,000. That
No.
can't be correct.
Now here's the thing. If I guess I just wanted to win the Seer split. I don't think that's particularly
Why?
important, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
My
think
my
that.
guess.
Like, if that was like the only draw card or something, but like breppert can just play with Margraves if they need more draw
So you
or a
said
crew.
that um like the altar should have gained a scrap, which I
Yeah.
agreed with after you said it, but that thought did not occur to me, and perhaps the thought did not occur to Hakha. Um, so like my mind was kind of fixated on what's the best 5 cost card for me to gain, because like that's what altar does, right? But you can in fact gain a card that costs less than 5 with altar.
That is a
Crazy.
lot. Breppert did it, but for a silver for some reason.
Well, I mean, it was strictly +1 coin play, so like whatever. Scrap Guardian for silver, draw it, rebuy the Guardian. They got 1 coin out of it. They didn't use that coin, but I guess they just permanently had the silver, so that's good. Because
I don't
Breppert,
mind getting a silver, but you get a scrap that gains you silvers.
um, Breppert didn't have the overdraw at that point, so I think if they were to
I just think
gain,
none of these players is all that scrappy.
I think that's a fair criticism, fair critique. I've
They need
got
to be more tenacious.
Now I know you want to probably like alter a horse into a scrap or something, but we'll see what Breppert ends up doing. I think it's
Yeah,
reasonable to
something like
scrap
that.
the altar
Uh, hmm.
and just start greening or something. I don't know. You probably want at
Oh,
least one
now
more
I'm
mining village.
conflicted. So on the one hand, in principle, I like the idea of scrapping the altar. I feel like it's not doing that much. On the other hand, I'm looking at this specific turn and thinking, you've just got a boatload of overdraw.
This has happened on like all of Breppert's
And,
turns. Yeah,
and now Hakha is about to have that problem of having 1,000,000 more Seers than necessary. And maybe you just get more value out of this turn by like altering Guardian into scrapping a bunch of horses or something, and you get more total silvers in your deck, and then you can consider trashing the altar on a future turn. There's also always farmland altar into province is a thing to look out for.
yeah, that actually isn't bad. I think as Breppert, I want to put pressure in terms of points on Hakka because Hakka just said, you know what, I'm gonna have 7 Seers in my deck. And as Breppert, I think the best response to that is, okay, but we're greening now. You don't have time to add like 17 more silvers.
Yeah, like what if you farmland altar into a province and then just like buy a bunch of guardians or something or a bunch of mining villages threatening to pile out next turn? I don't know if they have enough buys in their deck to be able to threaten anything meaningful.
They've got 2 Margraves and a scrap, right? So that's 4 buys.
Yeah, so you need to lower those piles by like 4 to even put them in pile out range for you.
I don't think you need to do it over 1 turn. In fact, you can start putting.
I would like to do it over 1 turn if I could. I don't want I don't want this game to go longer than necessary.
Well, you can put. Well, my point is, you can put. The game can end on provinces also, JNails.
No, no, it can't.
So I
Common
think,
misconception.
yeah, here we go. You get 2 provinces and get some mining villages. Oh, I guess you're not getting. Yeah, I guess it doesn't quite work. Okay, what are we
8
doing here?
provinces is just that's eons in Breppert years.
Ooh, okay. got another Margrave as well. Not the nicest looking
I would
starting hand
really
for breppert,
worry.
but I don't think it'll die.
You get 6 provinces and you think it's smooth sailing, and then your opponent just farmlands all their 3 costs into duchies for a 5-point
I
lead
have
each.
literally never seen that.
Never
Never.
farmland into duchy.
No,
That
I've
happens
never
all the
seen
time.
farmland overcome a 6 province advantage. In fact, it's the other way around, I think. Farmland makes it easier to end on provinces. It doesn't. It's kind of like unusual, maybe, because you might think, oh, there's some more alt VP in the kingdom, then provinces aren't quite as important. But I actually think farmland makes the province pile out more important. It's like more efficient to pile out on provinces than to mess around with duchies. But in this kingdom, with so many silvers, it is a bit of a different story. I do think the farmland into duchy is a pretty good way to get more points, but I certainly wouldn't be happy with my opponent having 6 provinces.
I mean, I'd prefer they have fewer,
Mm-hmm.
but if they insist on having 6, we could reach an arrangement.
Look at all these Seers. Which is good for
You
future
sure you're drawing
turns.
enough there, Hakha? Yeah.
Although, honestly, I would have rathered one of those Seers be a Margrave.
Hakha didn't even take plus buy off of that scrap. We're just buying 2 things here, or are we gaining a scrap off of this altar?
It's a good question. Yeah. Or a Margrave, but yeah.
Scrap makes sense.
Yeah, you got so much draw.
I wonder if Guardian is counterproductive. I don't see how.
Man, my chat window is in a state where it doesn't auto scroll.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I think refreshing fixes that. Like, just do a hard refresh of the browser. I'm not 100%.
I'll do it between games. Yeah, you can get Mining Village. It's safe, just barely. I like Hakka's position, because Breppert's now in a tough spot where it's like, oh, well, how many provinces is safe to get? Certainly it's unsafe to take 3. It's unsafe to take 2. And I don't think Breppert can take 4.
To have 6 gains here to win.
They have 5.
6 gains, right?
They have 5.
5 gains?
Yeah. 3 Margraves and a Scrap.
The altar's dead already?
Well, they just dead it, potentially.
Oops.
You can't trip whatever this is, because you have a bunch of Margraves. So, yeah, there you go. Alright, no doubt.
Hey, we got a turn after all. It's quite a nice draw. Scrap into Margrave, into Seer, into Mining Village.
I mean, they have so much draw down there, though. Like, it was just an
that's
unlucky
true.
starting draw. Because they have another Margrave and another Mining Village down there, I think. They might only have 3 Mining Villages?
Second.
I don't know. They have 3 or 4. Oh! Now they only have 3. So if they trashed all their mining villages, would they have been able to get 4 provinces? That's the question. Because that might have been safe. That might have been the best, like, the thing to try for. But at this point, they have only a maximum of 20 coins, which is not enough. Even if they had all the farmland targets. 24? No, it wouldn't have been enough. I think there was no way for Breppert to get 4 provinces here. So I think they just have to take 1. Which is pretty crappy. You can take another mining village, though, because Hakha does not have much plus buy. So you can lower that pile, and then having an extra mining village will help you have a bigger next turn. Huh. Okay. That's fine, I guess.
All right. Is 4 provinces doable here at all?
You have to trash every mining village to have a chance, right? So Hakha does have an altar that they can farmland into province, and they have one farmland, right? So they have
Okay, now is the
two.
time to think.
So they need 28 coins. Is that the right math? 16
That
plus
sounds right.
12.
They
And they have
had.
5 mining villages, so that's 10 coins right there.
Seems
I
like they
think
got
they
it
can
then.
do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I think they can.
They had 18 last
Oh,
turn with
what a good
17 in
seer.
treasures, plus the Guardian, and they gain a little bit extra money off these scraps. This seems entirely doable.
Yeah, you can scrap a seer.
Now we need all those seers.
Oh, this looks amazing. Yeah, those seers have drawn so well. Yeah, I think it's here. Do not scrap the altar though. I'm not mistaken, right? Hakka does have a farmland, right? Or no?
Good question.
No, they do not. Oh, okay, so they need 30. That's
That still
trickier.
sounds doable. These scraps can make you 3 extra money.
Okay, there's a silver there. That's very good.
Yes, if you have no farmlands, then the number to hit is 30 rather than 28. 1 farmland on the altar plus 3 provinces.
Yep.
But they should hit 30 here just fine, I think. You need to make sure you're taking plus buy off the scraps as well, which is the only big limitation.
Yeah. They have
But yeah, like you just scrap these seers.
yeah. Well, at least one seer. You might
Yeah,
otherwise
I mean
have
you
to
could scrap
scrap the
both and it'd be fine.
guardian.
You could also scrap 1 seer, gain a horse, and scrap that. I don't think it's going to be all that difficult here.
Oh, right. You get the horse out of that. Okay. Okay, you got the horse in hand. I think it's a lock now. What? Okay, fine.
I think they have wiggle room. I don't think
Yeah,
it
yeah,
needs
yeah.
to be super
That's fine.
precise.
All you need is the coin, the buy, and the silver, so it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, we're overshooting there by a bit.
Oh, it didn't
Oh,
even
didn't even go
buy
one
farmland? You
farmland.
missed out on 2 VP.
Embarrassing.
Unbelievable. Well played by Haka.
I don't like this kingdom.
I haven't looked at this kingdom.
Opening looks well. I was gonna say it's obviously Masquerade star chart, but I suppose you could consider Maroon star chart. Is there any reason why that might be better than Masquerade? Maybe. So for
Masquerade's
context,
star chart's very good.
yeah, Masquerade star chart is just like a top tier opening. Masquerade's already super strong, and if you buy it alongside star chart, you get to play it literally every single turn. Because you top deck at turn 3, you see 7 of your 11 cards, meaning you only have 4 cards left. Then you need to top deck it again for turn 4. You trashed a card, you bought a card, you still had 11 cards, and that cycle just repeats every turn as long as you're only adding 1 card per turn. And then you just get thin super fast, add some treasures in your provincing in no time.
And is that the end of the story in this kingdom?
I don't know.
It doesn't look.
You probably run a little bit more than that. Wouldn't mind adding an acting troop or 2 and maybe throwing in a remodel
Yeah.
or catacombs at some point. You could do a little bit here.
I know you don't like this kingdom. It's probably correct to buy gold at some point.
I'll get it off remodel. I just don't like Masquerade very much.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, it's annoying. It's an attack card, and you can't even block it with moat.
But okay, I think Masquerade is fun.
If you remove Masquerade, you could just do Maroon Star Chart, which is more or less the same thing, but with less annoyance.
But also worse. The big problem, well, Maroon's got some problems, but one of the problems with Maroon is you have to trash before you draw. With Masquerade, you get to draw and then trash. This is actually a big advantage I have found.
Yeah, having 2 extra cards to find something worth passing.
So breppert gets an anvil.
Uh, Intriguing.
Wonder what that's going to do.
Pick up acting troops, maybe. The thing you want to watch out for is the always top deck Masquerade thing works as long as you have exactly 11 cards. If you add 2 cards to your deck, and only trash 1, you're 12 cards, and then you don't get to top deck the Masquerade next turn. So you could do something like play Anvil, gain a thing, and then buy Infirmary, maybe.
Or breppert is going to violate the play mask every turn game plan. Deviate, excuse me, from
That's
that
a
game
bad
plan.
one.
Yeah, I don't think it. I don't love that, but
I don't hate the Anvil. I think you just gotta make sure you're playing around it so that you get to top deck the Masquerade. I don't want to have it turn where I don't play Masquerade.
so Hakha hits 5 and is looking at these 5s and saying, I don't think I want either of them.
Yeah.
If you had infinite actions, of course, merchant ship would be better than gold. But you do not. Wow.
Anvil it is.
Hakha sees the same thing breppert does.
I think Catacombs looks playable here at some point, but there's not a whole lot of value in putting it in your deck when you have no villages and an action that you're playing every turn already.
Yeah. Yeah, I think ultimately Anvil to gain acting troops lets you build bigger, and then you have Catacombs for draw. I like that. It's just how do you get from here to there is something that I'm not sure about, and I guess we're gonna find out how each player navigates that.
Buying a silver confuses me.
Does it? What do you want to buy there?
I don't know, just an acting troop or something. What do I need the silver for?
To buy
We're
gold.
hitting 5 and buying 3 costs. That is not indicative of needing more money.
Well, of course they need to hit 6 so they can buy gold.
Why would you do that?
Hakha is free of estates, by the way, for one glorious moment.
I think Breppert will help him out on that front.
Mm-hmm. The old estate tennis.
Masquerade gets really annoying once you're thin. John Smith's ambassador.
But you know, on a Star Chart Kingdom, you could choose the top deck of copper. If you were
I think
so
Shane-
thin that all you were worried about is needing to pass a good card, you could top deck copper.
For the most part, Shaman does what Ambassador is trying to do better.
Oh, I do not miss Ambassador at all. I found that that's one of the most unpleasant cards in Dominion.
It's a much more snowbally card, I think.
Yeah, Shaman is snowbally as well, unfortunately. But yeah, I feel like Ambassador is even worse. But the thing that bothered me about Ambassador, with Shaman, you still are trying to and can succeed at hitting 5. With Ambassador, you may spend literally 15 turns doing nothing except for trying to maximize how much junk you send to the opponent. And that is the optimal play. It's very painful to me.
Yeah, Ambassador was real bad because the correct play most of those turns was you play your Ambassador, you pass 2 things over to your opponent, and then you got 2 money left. But wait, Ambassador costs 3, so you're probably buying nothing and passing your turn. Then you do it again, and then you're just doing nothing at all except passing things.
And then when you do hit 3, you
And
buy a
then-
second Ambassador.
Yeah, it's also terminal, so you can lose by just colliding your ambassadors and your opponent's giving you like 4 extra jump cards. by the time you find your ambassador again. Shaman, it's cheaper, it's non-terminal, and you're only ever giving your opponent one at a time. So you still get some element of that. Like this is going to be a grindier game where you have to thin for longer, but it is not as decided by the shuffles, I think, and there's a little bit more room to do stuff while you're in the process of trashing.
Yeah, and Shaman sets kind of like a floor. It's like, hey, you have to trash at least one card a game to keep your head above water. Ambassador didn't even
Yeah.
give you that. Like Ambassador was entirely dependent on how much your opponent invested in them. So if your opponent gets a little ahead and is a jerk or playing optimally, you're just buried. You're just gonna be buried. You're gonna get like at least 2 extra junk cards added each turn, which if you don't have control, there's just no way to come back from that.
Yeah, like Ambassador could just be the payload of your deck, where at some point you get ahead on Ambassadors, you buy a curse, and then you just pass your opponent all 10 of the curses. Or I remember playing a game one time with Bandit Fort, where the win condition of the game was just passing the opponent all 40 silvers, and that was more negative victory points than the provinces were positive.
Yeah, Shaman is kind of like the game as Ambassador attacking you. Yeah. But
Yeah.
there is still like the player interaction stuff, right? Because there is a kind of like quirky thing in the early game and Shaman games where you're like, oh, if I put 2 cards in the trash this turn, then maybe I'll have to take one of those cards back next turn. But maybe my opponent was going to trash a card anyway, in which case it's fine for me to do that. So it gives you some interesting decisions. Hey, Grotto gained. That was unexpected.
Agreed. I mean, Grotto's in general quite a good card, but here I think the trashing is just so good that there's not a lot of stuff you're going to want to set aside.
Yeah, if I wanted to design a kingdom to showcase when Grotto is not worth it, I would choose this kingdom.
Yeah, that seems like a good example.
It's like you in a game with Masquerade, you don't want to be setting aside your remaining junk cards. You kind of want
You could use
at least
Annex
one
on
of
top of
them
the
to be in
Scrappy
your
and
hand.
something to pass.
Yeah, let's see that happen. Also, one grotto is a cursed number of grottos to have, of course.
This, I think if you'd asked me at the start, I would have guessed that this kingdom would go a lot faster. It looks fairly straightforward.
I disagree.
Um,
Yeah, I guess I'm not too surprised. I I do think it's like it's not you're not building to a whole lot, but it's a kind of game where there are a lot of these little decisions, and it's not clear what's correct. Like, how much do you go in for acting troop plus other draw? And do you play with remodel? What are you planning to remodel? Like, there's lots of little decisions.
I guess the thing that makes it thinky is your turns are going to get to be kind of close to deterministic, where you're seeing most of your deck, and so you can plan out exact lines. Like if I get an acting troop this turn, then remodel next turn, then I gain that thing. I know exactly how my turn's going to go.
I think you're
John
overestimating
asks, how
the
fast is
draw.
pure mask star chart money? I
Oh,
think the answer is very fast.
oh no, it's not very fast. I have that information though.
Maybe what do you have written down? Ludicrous speed?
I'm looking it up. No, it is not ludicrous. 4 provinces by turn 10 to 11, 6 provinces by turn
That sounds
13 to
fast.
15.
That sounds fast. Is that not fast?
It is fast. It's just not ludicrous.
By big money standards?
Well,
That is, you're zooming.
I'm comparing it against the best 2 card combos, and it comes up not looking great. But yeah, so it's
Okay,
like
sure, it's not gonna be like lurker hunting grounds, but like if you compare it to other big money strategies, I think that's like upper echelons of strong money kingdom.
it's second tier. Yeah, yeah, top
What's the
tier
top tier for money strategies?
gear trade.
Is that much faster than mask?
It's
Breppert?
I think cleanly a turn faster, which is a big
So
deal
then you
when
got
it
to
comes
factor
to
in
money
the masquerade
strategies.
attack, which is gonna mess up your gears. They're gonna pass you extra estates.
That's okay. You have trade. Your trade is so beautiful. It is my favorite money strategy. I love
I
it.
remember back when I was brand new to Dominion, like I just learned about the game like a few months ago, and I went to some in-person tournament out in California, and I remember winning the finals because it was gear and trade, and I just did only gear money,
Mhm.
and everyone else tried to do real things. I was like, I know a secret y'all don't. I don't know how I learned about gear trade already, but I learned it within like the first few months. Like gear trade, that's the thing to do. And I did it. Figured it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I mean it's the kind of two card combo where you really have to ask, like, is what I'm doing better than just straight gear trade monolithic? Because it is that like efficient. Whereas with like mass star chart, I think of it as like, well, this is a good like opening and this is a good template, but there's probably something better to be doing.
Yeah, like Masquerade Star Chart, I think is. I mean, even just Masquerade money is pretty strong. Like Masquerade Star Chart is very good into money, but it's also one of those things that's like very good at kicking off an engine. So it's not
Yeah.
necessarily if you see that you just play with those two. Kind of like donate Market Square,
Hmm.
or that's like absurdly fast money, but it's
Absolutely.
also an absurdly fast start to a broader strategy.
Yeah, yeah. If we're counting, of course, that as money, then that is the top tier. It is literally the best two card combo in the game. And then Jeweled Egg Donate is right behind it.
Oh, I thought Jewel Egg Donate was better than Market
I don't
Square.
know, they're about the same.
Was it worse?
So we're gonna run out of acting troops. I'm kind of curious if we're gonna like get to a part of the game where we're just out of villagers. The way these
Quite
guys are
possibly.
playing, we might. Breppert looks ahead from that perspective, right? They've got this acting troop they haven't played yet, and they're probably gonna anvil the last acting troop. And what we've seen quite a few times here is remodeling catacombs into gold and acting troop. Um, oh, okay. When I say quite a few times, I mean exactly 2 times, one for each player.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me as a play.
You
I
want the
mean, it's the
golds.
only way here to get a gold into your deck, really.
Yeah, I can't imagine any other way.
There really isn't any.
If only Anvil cost 4, you could remodel that into gold, but alas, it's not
Remember
so.
Mask Stash? I absolutely do not remember that.
Yeah, so it turns out refreshing did not fix my not scrolling chat thing.
Oh no, I hate that. I don't. I thought I feel like I found a solution to that at some point. I thought it was refreshing, but maybe that's not it, or maybe I'm imagining.
So John's asked, so pure money is probably at 4 provinces by now? No, I'd say with great draws, you could have 4 provinces by turn 10. Um, or above average draws, right? By turn 11, we can say with confidence that the pure money strategy would have 4 provinces, at least. I never got to play Stash in an online implementation that I remember. I did play a little bit in the Making Fun implementation, but I don't know if I ever played with Stash.
I have seen Stash come up occasionally on the Templegate
Mm,
client, and it's like almost entirely ignorable.
yep.
And the off chance you for some reason have a stash, it's just a minor nuisance of like, oh, I gotta spend a second putting this on the bottom, I guess.
Yeah. No. A Scavenger Stash is a legitimate 2 card combo. Um, it is probably as strong as getting to 4 provinces and 6 provinces as Star Chart Mask. Well, probably better at whatever. I can just look it up. But anyways, it's good. It like is a
Is
golden
that fast?
deck. It's yes, it's quite good. And unlike Masked Star Chart, the presence of Stash and Scavenger in the kingdom makes it less likely that there's anything else good going on. So it's more relevant.
So you need 2 scavengers and 3 stashes, and then you just basically always hit province.
Yeah. What do I have here?
Well, that
Yeah, I have 4 provinces by turn 10 or 11. So same milestone to 4 provinces, but then you just province every turn thereafter.
so let's see, you buy scavenger silver,
Hmm.
probably scavenger stash turn 3 and turn 4 if they
That
go
is
well.
the ideal draws. Yep.
and then stash, and then you buy province 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yep.
Yeah, checks out.
Yep, those are the ideal draws. You don't always hit 4 and 5 on turns 3 and 4, of course, so that's why sometimes it's turn 11.
That deck has to get wrecked by Masquerade, though.
Yeah. You might have. There are going to be turns where you might have to give up a province or give up your ability to buy province, both of which are going to just be crushing.
Oh, it's worse than that, because if you pass one of your stashes, the deck just falls apart, right?
Yeah, right. So like you have one card that's not the cards that you've like put place on top of your deck. So if it's province, you're just like it's just so bad to have to
So
like
for
pass
context, for anyone
province.
unfamiliar with how this works, Scavengers is the card that lets you discard your whole deck and put one card on top, and then stashes the treasure that whenever you shuffle your deck, you get to put it wherever you want. And so the combo is you use one Scavenger to discard your whole deck and top deck another Scavenger. And then when you do that, you just put 3 stashes on top of your deck. And then your hand is always Scavenger, 3 stashes, and some 5th card.
Yeah, there is a
That's 8, 9,
tiny
you buy a
chance to
province, you
dud
reset it.
if that 5th card happens to be your second scavenger.
Yeah.
In which case you buy another scavenger and you're sad and you miss a turn. But like it's a very low chance because it's literally just one draw card out of your entire deck and you still have all your starting cards. So and also you can work around it by getting a fourth stash. Like you have outs or options. Anywho, did breppert not gain that last acting troop on turn 10? Let me look. They did not. I think that was a mistake. They, like, imagine how much worse Hakha's position would be if they didn't have this acting troop. Seems like it would be worse.
A relevant question. Rank the following in terms of fun: golf, gardening, hiking.
Golf, hiking, gardening. But I fully concede that golf requires a lot more investment than hiking.
I haven't been golfing in ages, but I think I would put golf number 1. I love putt-putt. If putt-putt counts as golf, then golf's number 1 by like a million miles. Yeah, gardening I think can be peaceful. I don't know if I'd describe it as fun. Not anti-gardening, but it's not an activity I do for fun per se. So to me, it's a question of is hiking like net positive or net negative fun? Hiking can be all right.
Breppert passed an anvil. They didn't have much in the way of options. That anvil probably doesn't do much at this point in the game anyway. But it is a nice remodel target for Hakha.
Johnson's gatekeeping golf.
I mean, it's a pretty it's a pretty different experience.
I mean, putt-putt is just like the back half of each golf game.
Golf is an extremely frustrating experience. I golf quite a bit. I'm frequently upset while golfing, but I keep coming back, so I don't know what that tells you.
I golfed a decent bit as a kid. There's a putt-putt place in Raleigh that I find particularly fun because they just have a bunch of interesting variants on the game. Like there will be special rules for each individual hole, or one of them literally there's like a, what do you call it, like a zip line where your first putt per se is you slide down a zip line and drop your ball on
Wow,
the course as you're going over it, and that counts as your first move.
insane.
Is it called part? Maybe that's the name of it. I honestly don't remember the name. That sounds familiar, so it might be Party. I enjoy that place.
It's a very punny name.
Well, did you particularly enjoy it? If so, it's probably the one I'm thinking of.
I haven't been to putt putt. in probably over a decade. I think I'm overdue.
I think I've been a putt in like 4 months.
You sound like you're overdue.
Yeah, clearly.
Golfing, of the three activities mentioned, golfing is the most similar to Dominion, I would say. It is
Most
a
similar?
game that rewards mastery,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of different levels. And you can be frustrated while playing and then also deeply satisfied.
I agree. If we're ranking them on similarity to Dominion, golf is a clear number 1 as well.
If you like really abstract and stretch the time scale, you might be able to make some gardening and Dominion parallels. Like you're planting the seeds which you'll later reap,
Yeah.
and there's green involved.
If I were to think about reasons those are similar, like to me they're both very like mindless activities. Like if I were just like wanted to do something in the background while I'm listening to a podcast or something, I don't think I'd be golfing, but I could either be playing Dominion or gardening. Maybe hiking as well.
I have not.
Hiking can turn your brain off.
Yeah, well, I have not achieved the state where I can play Dominion at all competently while not concentrating.
I feel like that's like 90% of all Dominion games.
You have reached a Zen level that I can only dream of.
Do you play chess at all?
Oh, hey, second grotto. Not really.
Like if you're playing chess at a very fast time control, like blitz or bullet, I feel like you're more or less just moving the pieces on reflex and not really thinking about it.
I've definitely not gotten to that state either. No.
So obviously, based on the amount of points they have as of turn 11, this is looking worse than money, but that's often not a fair comparison. For example, if you're both trying to build something, then maybe here you have to rush the acting troops a little bit faster than you otherwise would want to make sure you get them in time. Whereas versus a money player, you have as many acting troops as you need access to, and you have all the time in the world to take them. And maybe the engine does better than it does in the mirror.
As is often the case in these situations, as a spectator, I wish that one of the players had done the boring money thing just so we could see if the more complicated thing is better or worse. I get the feeling looking at these decks at this stage that the money-ish approach would have been better.
Still don't like the grottos.
So now, John, also this grotto set aside exactly one card. Like what? I mean, and now there's a long think. I assumed that was because, well, I'm going to buy profits, right? But now Hakha's thinking for a long time, which I'm a little confused about. Because certainly, if you're not buying province, you set aside at least one of these coppers with grotto.
They sure do have a lot of villages left, so I kind of doubt the contested piles are relevant for money versus engine. That's kind of the point, though, right? It's like if you're contesting the acting troop, means you kind of had to go out of your way early to get them while they were there, which might slow down your game plan.
Yeah, like imagine
as you need them.
Imagine breppert did take the last acne troop as denial, as I suggested. Hakha would have 4 villagers left. That is a real concern. Like that affects you 2 turns from now. That's like definitely relevant. breppert didn't do that, so I think Hakha is going to have enough villagers to close out the game. But like, you're definitely in a rough spot if you only get 4 acting troops here. I think. Yeah, Johns, I think that was the point. So if I can understand JNails' point and rephrase it, you can't just look at the benchmarks that the engine is reaching versus another engine player to evaluate how well it would do against money, because there are additional constraints that the engine versus engine player is facing. For instance, a limited number of acting troops and the need to get them early. So the engine might be doing better if it was up against money because it would just take the cards as it needs it when it needs it without having to worry um, about being denied acting troops or whatever.
Yeah, it's not like the acting troop pile becomes a concern in the engine versus money game. It becomes a concern in this game, and that makes it hard to infer based on how well these decks are doing, how well the engine would be doing when it's uncontested. It's kind of like how in like bridge or bridge troll games, if you both do the thing, it's probably gonna end on 3 piles before you ever get close to avoiding province. Whereas if one player gets access to all the bridges, it's gonna end on provinces, and you're gonna buy 8 in 1 turn.
Oh, another Grotto gained.
You don't think that the early acting troops are suboptimal relative to what you would do if like the pile weren't contested?
Ooh, a red model was set aside for Grotto. So, in terms of the benchmark
That makes
against
sense.
money, I think turn 12 is the turn when you would expect the money deck to have 5 provinces. And so that's like the threshold, right? It's like, hey, you need to be able to beat that. You might get lucky and also be able to beat that on turn 13. But it's like you have to be able to expect either turn 12 or turn 13, I'm beating an opponent that has 5 provinces. I don't think either engine is quite at that state, but they're pretty close, right? Like Hakha can have 4 provinces here and can maybe have like 3 provinces and 2 duchies. I'm not sure, but like it's not quite there.
So with Grotto, you do have to be careful about what you set aside. A lot of times you don't want to set aside good cards, even if you're not playing them this turn, because then they end up in the card pile and you don't
Mm-hmm.
get to find them for the next turn. Here, I think Breppert's got enough draw, plus sifting with Catacombs, that remodel being set aside is not really a concern, even if he needs to play it.
Also,
He'll be
there's
able to find
like
it.
remodel is the kind of card you want to draw at the end of your turn. So it's
Yeah,
like they don't set aside a draw card in Grotto pretty much ever.
yeah.
But like setting aside a payload card, it's like, well, that can be correct. Not always. Like it depends on whether you're gonna be able to get to it.
But the big one that's really annoying is like you buy 2 Grottos early and then you find them both in the same hand,
Uh-huh.
and you're setting aside 3 cards, and you're thinking like, why don't I just set aside the Grotto 2, so I have 4 cards set aside, I'm not even playing the second one. But if you set aside that second Grotto,
You're not
you
gonna see
pitch
it
it,
next
and then you
turn.
don't find it on the next turn,
Yep.
and
Yes, indeed.
okay, so we are approaching the end game. What does Hakha do here? The trouble is
Hakka's.
taking a province, it's not safe. Taking 0 province is also not really safe. Kind of looks like Breppert's just about to win this game, right?
I mean, no, I think taking 0. I don't think Prepper can take 30 provinces. They do have the
They
2
have provinces in their deck.
remodels.
It's just
Yeah,
crashed province in province 2 times.
yeah, but taking province is unsafe. So I think. Oh, interesting. I assumed we would have remodeled an anvil into a duchy, but I guess we're not doing that.
Getting a maroon, exciting.
Hawkeye just didn't get enough golds, I think is the problem. Like, they just don't have a lot of payload. I'm looking at breppert, and they have 2 golds, and that looks a lot better than 1. Oh, wow. Kind of
Alright, yep, that's
trippy
a win.
playing a catacombs into a star chart.
Yeah.
Because you could be like, oh, I want to top like a bad card because the other cards are bad. I'm going to discard them. Yeah.
Breppert fails to maximize points there. Could have trashed 1 more gold and had a whole 30, a whopping 30 whole points.
All right. 2-1.
What's the match score? Okay.
2-1. First player has won every game, I believe. Unless I missed a
As
game.
is tradition.
New table.
Alright, we migrate.
I don't see either player. Oh, there we are.
Are you sure you see him?
I mean, I see breppert. Now I see the table.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay. This looks like some nice, straightforward Dominion.
This looks to me like change is the only way to trash, and there's Witch in the Kingdom.
Just get Flames Gift every time.
Are you playing with Fool here?
I don't know. Maybe.
Definitely opening change. That much I know. And probably astrologing change as well.
You definitely open change.
Yeah.
Definite's a strong word.
I'm definitely opening change.
What about Smithy Underling?
I would never open that. But if you get good draws, it would work out.
Well, you can top deck the Smithy. And you're gonna hit 5, and you're
Okay.
gonna trigger a shuffle, and you got a Witch in that shuffle, and then everything works out.
What if you draw the underling dead? Maybe you should just
Does that
open
still
Smithy
trigger a
nothing.
shuffle?
Wait, you still trigger a shuffle?
No, because of the lucky coin, you have an extra silver,
Yeah.
so you have a 13 card deck.
Yeah.
If you draw the Underling dead, that's the one downside case.
Could just open Smithy nothing.
I feel like I want to trigger a shuffle. You gain a thing, you top deck a thing. Could be, what about change plus root cellar? Does that make any sense? No, I don't think that works, because you have to burn your one favor to top deck the change. Hope root cellar's in the turn 4 hand.
Yeah, because if you play Root Cellar
They-
first on turn 3, your change does not remodel.
Yeah.
Change is weird that way.
Opening here is not obvious to me.
I'm seeing this Smithy top deck thing. I hadn't considered it before. I maybe I'm just maybe you just give up on deck control. I think that's probably correct. In which case, maybe the Smithy Open is better than the Change Open.
Yeah, I mean, change underling is like the most straightforward opening. If like you're playing on the ladder and you're autopiloting, surely you click those two. I'm seriously thinking about something that uses Smithy and Order of Astrologers to get to play in Witch ASAP.
Yeah.
The Smithy opening only works if you find both Smithy and Underling at turn 3, right?
No.
It works out best in that scenario if you find the Underling turn 4, you trigger a shuffle it has the Witch in it early, but you don't guarantee the Witch is top decked.
Yep. And we're assuming reasonably that if you play a Smithy, you can buy a Witch. All right, both players do the Change Underling Open.
So I think it's like exactly 25% to draw the Underling dead, right? So you top deck Smithy, you have 12 other cards in your deck, and you draw 3 of those.
11 other cards. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, that sounds right. So Hakha gets an abysmal draw and does not hit 5, despite and does not see their change. So they bottom deck silver change. Is that what's happened there? I mean, it has to be.
Say that
Yeah.
again?
Hakha bottom deck silver change.
That's quite unfortunate.
I'd be fuming.
You shouldn't do that.
And now they have this root cellar that if they play it, they can't change in a state. But maybe it's correct to just play the change for +3 coins anyway.
You can play the Hamlet actions, play change first, and then follow up with the roots.
Yeah. But what are you discarding? What draw, I guess. I don't like the early root cellar. These decks are going to be pretty ugly.
So in fairness to Hakha, he wasn't that likely to find the root cellar off the top. It was like a 3 in 10 chance or something, lower than that.
Yeah, your hope is to find it here to trigger a shuffle with a witch in it.
Yeah, like ideally you play the change the previous turn, you gain a witch. This turn you play the root cellar, it triggers a nice shuffle for you, and you're in dead up to your eyeballs. But that's fine because
whoa! Hakha buys Bandit Camp instead of Second Witch.
Ah,
Worked out here.
intriguing.
Oh, breppert did the same.
Uh,
You know what's really good about Witch? Everything. I want two of them. breppert agrees, but decided to sidetrack for Bandit Camp first, which is really working out.
I don't hate the bandit camp. So you already had one village and two terminals in your deck. If you add the witch, you're maximizing your chance of playing witch, but you're guaranteeing that you're adding a bandit camp means you're under terminaled slightly, but like you're safe and that you're very likely to have a village in hand if you collide two terminals.
Hmm. What do we buy here? I'm thinking wedding.
Really?
Yep.
Is that a joke?
No.
Get
I don't really
you buy
believe
a
in having deck control here.
wedding? I don't think I would have even realized weddings in the kingdom yet.
You know, maybe the fact that Triumph's in the kingdom means that you do need to build a little. Bandit Camp really fuels it kind of effortlessly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm coming around to that. It's just, man, this can be so hard to get deck control.
Root Cellar feels bad it me in that it gets in the way of change.
Yep, I agree.
Uh, I would assume that he means feels bad to me, but maybe he's trying to communicate to Johns um, in his non-standard dialect of English. But yeah, I agree with the sentiment there that Root Cellar and Change are not friends necessarily. It's a bit awkward.
Yeah, I think I stand by it. You take Triumph away from this kingdom, I would be happy with a wedding in that previous turn of Breppert's.
Yeah, playing Change looks pretty dang important. Like playing Witch is probably the number one goal while curses are here. But then for the same reason curses are bad, playing Change and trashing something into
Yeah.
5 cost is really good.
So if you
Yeah, having
always,
debt
yep,
is just really bad at change around.
yep. So that's just going to be something Haka is going to have to struggle with all the time.
Yeah, like this change here wouldn't do anything.
Good thing they have a wish
But
to
lucky
play.
for Hawkeye, he doesn't even get to play it.
Hamlet
Crossroads, if you
or
don't have it, I'm not sure who has the
Crossroads.
Crossroads. If you do have a Crossroads already, then just a Hamlet, I
I
think.
don't. Another underling. My instinct was I don't like that, but then I thought, it's a village smithy board. Having like two favors going into each shuffle is pretty nice, right? You just put Bandicamp Smithy or Bandicamp Witch on top, Witch while the curses are around.
Yeah, I would not be unhappy to have a bunch of underlings and just stack my deck once a shuffle. Uh, I think I would have clicked a village there just because you buy the cheap village in the form of Hamlet,
Mhm.
which is about as much of a village as Bandit Camp is, and then when you hit 4 and 5, you gain the draw card.
I mean, if you want to do Triumph things, you should probably be having Hamlets in your deck anyway. And I think doing
Yeah.
Triumph things is a good idea. Yeah, both Hamlet and
But it's
Bandit
freaking
Camp kind of fuel the Triumph thing.
John has a point. They both open with change, and there are a total of 2 cards in the trash.
That's funny.
As much as things change, they stay the same.
Oh, I thought that was a GG at first.
GRG.
I wonder what Breppert's thinking about. I don't know. Deck control just seems so far away.
What you really need is mining RPA. That's the advantage that the player with mining root has.
I'm not quite following. You have to play,
Mining,
you have
okay,
to
mining road player advantage.
you have to play both mining roads. Like you have to play two mining roads before change.
Yeah.
Mining road's a
Or a
stop
mining road with
card in a
bandit camp.
deck where you're, let's be honest, never gonna have that control.
Mining road, bandit camp, root cellar. How much draw is that? Root cellar draws 2. You're just breaking even there, right? Mining road, bandit camp, root cellar is draw neutral. No, it is draw because you don't actually have to draw the spoils. That is one card worth of draw.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The mining road before the bandit camp. Yeah,
And you make 2 money and a buy out of it. What a power combo.
incredible.
Yeah, I think mining road sounds not so bad. Plus buy sounds all right, and it's effectively a cantrip if it's playing those
It does play
insane
nicely with
spoils
bandit
for you.
camp. I don't know if I've had that combo before. I honestly I didn't see mining road in the kingdom. When Tracer mentioned it, I was like,
Combo before.
why is he bringing up a card that's not even in the kingdom? It seems so irrelevant. The curses are not quite gone. Will they be here? Yes, they will. Okay, okay. Hakha managed to split the curses 5-5. He's in this game. It was a really bad start for Hakha, but he's in it.
Wait. So he assembled the whole root cellar mining road bandit combo and then didn't even draw the change to take advantage of it. How trash. How tragic.
Almost the whole combo.
He's just missing the last piece of Exodia. Then he's sure to win.
I think I want another Smithy, don't you? Smithy, Bandit Camp, Hamlet,
Smithy looks
maybe?
like a phenomenal card here.
Yeah, I guess Smithy, Bandit Camp, Hamlet. Hamlet is just like quite a good village. You're gonna have a lot of cards to discard the whole game. Huh. Second Crossroads. That's fine if you commit to never trashing the estates, which makes sense because you're gonna change curses.
Yeah, he actually still has all 3 estates. I don't hate the crossroads. The first one is a nice early village. The second one is likely to be a witch or a smithy worth of draw.
Smithy, Bandit Camp. Yep. It's all good.
In the hood.
Could even potentially get another Smithy here. Go into one debt. Wouldn't mind that. Smithy or Hamlet? Mining Road. Okay, I did not see that coming.
He does have 2 bandit camps now. Exactly enough for the 2 mining roads, as long as you just stack your deck appropriately.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm a little torn on the root cellar. I think I like root cellars here, just because they play nicely with the bandit camp mining road stuff. On the flip side, root cellar I think is really good when the average value of your deck is really high, because you're drawing 2 cards at the cost of 3 money, and if your deck is full of coppers and curses, that might just not be a good exchange rate.
Yeah. Also, the villages are good here, so I like Smithy here. Like, you can get terminal
Yeah,
space really cheap.
of course.
You get it from Crossroads, you get it from Hamlet, you get it from Bandit Camp. Like, lots of ways to get plus actions, and Smithy is obviously better than Root Cellar if you have the actions. Let's go.
Breppert just played bandit camp before mining road. Oh, that is a serious offense. Hakha did too. Oh, why do you even have the mining roads
No,
if
no,
not
no,
for the
no, no, no,
bandit
no, no,
camp?
no. That's not true. Hakha, you did the best they
Is
could.
John's lying?
I wasn't paying attention to breppert, but Hakha did the best they could. They did not have Mining Road in hand the turn when they played that first Bandit Camp. I'm like pretty sure.
They played Root Cellar, then played Bandit Camp.
Yeah, the
They had a
Smithy
Mining
drew the Mining Road.
That's on me for trusting Jaunts. Learn my lesson, won't do it again.
Yeah, and the second Mining Road was drawn off. Not that the second Mining Road mattered, because at that point you're out of Bandit Camps. So they got one Mining Road into Bandit Camp interaction, and that was the most they could get. They did nothing wrong. And let me just say that this Crossroads does not look very good. But the next one should look pretty good.
I've confirmed you've in fact never played with Bandit Camp and Mining Road in the same kingdom.
Yeah, it is a little weird.
Combo
No. The Bandit Camp drew the Underling. All this false narrative from Johns. Hakha did nothing wrong.
Ooh, this is a hand. This is a nasty hand.
Could be worse. It doesn't matter, Johns. They already got the value from a previous Mining Road on that Bandit Camp. Wandering Winder, who is not listening to voice chat, is making my... it's reiterating my comments in text form. I hope Johns feels appropriately ashamed. Johns is like doubling
I
down.
played 4 total games of Bandit Camp Mining Road.
So
in one of them, it appears that I clicked a bunch of those. Likewise in the second one. And the third one I did not. Why not? Oh, procession supplies. Yeah, that makes sense.
breppert chose not to
One was
use
rebuild.
their astrologer favors. That seems really wrong on a, like, especially since their witch just drew Bandit Camp Smithy Dead.
You know, you raise a good point.
Like, they have 2 favors, right? I'm not crazy. That's what that 2 means over there.
Yeah, what are you saving them for?
Yeah.
You're gonna have like 2 or 3 turns before you shuffle this deck again, probably.
Yeah, what the heck? That was really bad.
Such a Libra thing to do.
Ooh. We don't want to trigger a shuffle? Oh, no. Okay, we're doing it that way.
Oh, look at these mining roads go.
Just the one, unfortunately. Hey, that's a pretty nice
Alright,
crossroads.
Hakha.
Oh no, it was a...
Eyeballs.
Wait, that was a terminal... Why was that a terminal crossroads? Hakha
Because
has
he started
3!
with the crossroads.
Hakha has 3
Three
crossroads! That's one more than you're supposed to have. I don't know why, but
Oh,
it's a
did he-
rule. You're not supposed to have 3.
In this kingdom, 3 does seem like a lot when you only have the 3 estates in your whole deck. I think another Hamlet would look better.
Honestly, I can't even explain it. It's just such a strong heuristic for me that I should not get a 3rd crossroads. If it's ever correct in a kingdom, I'm never going to get it because that heuristic is just too strong.
In kingdoms where crossroads is your main draw, you can certainly get 3 or 4 or 5. Like
Yeah.
Church Around, for example.
Yeah, that's a combo. I'll know that.
Yeah. Or like Crossroads Barge. Folks in the chat are pointing out that Hakha, with, what was it, like 11 debt, chose to discard for plus buy on his Hamlet and not for plus action. That is a ridiculously optimistic discard choice. And
Wait,
got
he
punished
didn't discard for both?
He discarded only for plus buy. Again, with 11 debt, he
That
thought he was going to have enough money to buy 2 whole things.
that is
And he didn't
amusing.
discard for actions and drew a bunch of terminal cards.
That is amusing. Hakha, on the other hand, used their favors to top deck Bandicamp
Yeah.
Smithy, which is correct. Breppert should take notes. So we have to be asking ourselves now. Well, we don't have to, but I'm going to do it. Would it have been better for either player to give up on deck control and just try to get provinces?
Absolutely not. I think if you're giving up on debt control, it has to be the 3 pylon quickly.
Yeah.
Like
I just think, yeah.
I imagine like Hardbot in this kingdom would be clicking duchies suspiciously often, and then you'd blink and duchy would be at 2.
Interesting.
So like you gotta have a plan to in the game ASAP, right?
Yeah,
And
because of
8
Triumph.
provinces
Yeah.
are gonna take ages.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Or you could rush estates actually, right?
Yeah,
Like
rushing
if you win
estates has the
split or
added
something-
benefit. Well, it has a bunch of added benefits, but the biggest one is depriving points to an opponent who's building via Triumph. But it also powers up Crossroads if you're playing with those in your deck.
Right. Like I would imagine if I take all the estates and then you go to Triumph, oops, you don't get the Triumph points anymore because you have to gain the state successfully to get the points.
All right, Breppert, I want to see a mad stacked deck. You can hold on to a favor. I wouldn't mind that, but you should probably top deck 4 things.
I'm thinking Bandit Camp, Mining Road, Smithy, Root Cellar.
That's fine.
Something like that.
Honestly, that's fine.
Looks like he did basically that, but chose to put 2 Smithies on top.
That's also fine.
I know,
In fact, probably better. They just use all their favors.
Yeah, it's a nice looking hand you got there.
Did they just like forget last time? I'm very curious why Breppert didn't use their 2 favors on their last shuffle. I feel like that really hurt.
He trusted in the heart of the cards.
Heart of the cards said nope.
Yeah, heart of the cards gave him his best 2 cards.
Drawn terminally dead.
Yeah.
Whoa, we're gonna trigger a shuffle here. That's crazy. Or are we? Probably not.
How many cards are down there? There is like.
It's a change
down
down
there,
there.
right? He played all of them. Oh, there's 12 cards. How
Should we have triggered this shuffle?
Oh, this wasn't a clean shuffle. That's why there's so many cards down there. It's got a Bandit Camp and a Smithy down there.
It has a lot of
Apparently a few of
smithies.
them.
Yeah, I would top deck a smithy for sure. I don't think I would top deck 2 cards. Ooh, you don't have any other favors heading into the next shuffle. I think that was too greedy.
Ooh, bottom decked a Bandit Camp. A little bit annoying, right?
Yes, very unlucky. But at least
Actually,
it's there
it's
for
not
your
that bad.
well, it's there
F1
for your
is
next
fine,
turn. Yeah. But you have no favors.
Fine. The upside of drawing the Bandit Camp is you'd be able to like gain and play a underling or something.
Okay.
Is this a win? By chance? It's a lot of money. A lot of buys. Yeah, he seems to think it's a win. Yeah, that'll do it.
Oh, wow. I did not see that. Triumph! Nice triumph.
Here's of the next turn.
That's true. I did. Nice spot from Hakha. First player remains undefeated.
Ooh, Gamble Souk. I know where this kingdom's going.
Ugh.
That's a nasty one.
Here's Silver starred, presumably.
Farrier on the 5-2. Yes, that sounds amazing, right? You buy Farrier turn 1, and the next turn you can buy Souk and trash 2 estates. On the 3-4, I would think about something like turn 1 Cage, turn 2 Farrier, and try to get like a big Cage set aside.
There's no way that pays off. I would never consider trashing with Cage here.
You just want to get 1 Cage. Like the goal is to get a Souk in the deck and get to the end of your deck, and then you win the game.
No, the goal is to get as many Souks as you can while trashing your estates, then you win. Once you have no estates in your deck, and yeah, you have at least 2 Souks, you can generally start the combo. But it is important to get rid of the estates. But I wouldn't do it with Cage, because Cage never hits all 3 estates. That's absurd. Just do it with Souk. You want them anyway. Oh, breppert missed the Farrier Souk open. Very sad.
Oh, tragic.
It is good to gamble here, though, on the 5-2.
If he just randomly hits the Souk off the top... No, that doesn't even do it. That only
That's not even that good, yeah. I'm not even sure that's actually that good, now that I think about it. Because you want to trash the estates, not the copper. It's a gamble here, as breppert.
Yeah.
So for Hakha, I'm actually thinking about double landing party.
Double landing party, that's an opening.
Because you want to buy Souk, and the best case scenario is you buy Souk and trash 2 estates.
I'm still on board with Cage Farrier. I'm sticking to it.
Actually, I've changed my mind. Landing party into Farrier overpay 2 for Hakha. I think that's best. You probably even get the landing party back at some point. I think landing party is one of the most underutilized cards.
I like landing party.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think Gear Farrier sounds reasonable as well.
I don't like it as much as landing party, but it does sound pretty good. It's just like I don't want to set aside the estates, I want to trash them, so like the advantage of gear is lower.
You set aside the estates and then you trash them on the next turn.
Oh yeah, that works too. Yeah, that's fine.
What would Steward plus Farrier look like? You'd have a 7-card hand, and if you find Steward, you trash 2 and you hit 4. That sounds okay, I guess.
Sounds awful. That sounds abysmal. Again, Souk trashes cards when you buy it. I don't know if that's unclear. You don't need another card to trash.
I just don't want to have cards on my deck.
Coppers are fine. You get through them. In fact, Cage is like super bad because at some point you buy a province and then you're like, what the heck? Now I have these stupid cards in my hand I can't get rid of.
The game does not get that far.
Whatever, man.
One player gets like 9 of the Souks.
Oh god, I hate this Steward so much. Alright, let's see how Hakha uses it.
It's like the way that the gamble and Souk stuff works is like you get 7 money with a clean deck. You buy Souk, you buy gamble, you get 7 money back. You buy Souk, you buy gamble. And all of a sudden your deck is just 9 Souks. And then you can do whatever you want and you win the game.
Or 7 or 8.
I think the goal is just to like be the first person to do that and then you win. I don't think you have to think about the long term here.
Hell just happened there for breppert. Interesting. Alright. Well, breppert's next turn is crystal clear, I assume. Anyway, I don't like either of these players' lines at all. Are they better than silver? Yeah, a little, but not much.
Steward Cage surprises me.
What? There was a Cage? Oh my god, I didn't even see that. Hakha.
Cage turn 1.
Okay, hold on. Hakha might not even know about the combo.
Sure he does.
I mean, why would you open Steward Cage?
Well, if you find him on opposite turns, that works out okay.
No, it doesn't. You want to buy Souk. You know that neither of those cards help you buy Souk. I mean, Steward can, but like no more than Gear does. No more than Landing Party does.
Mill surprises me a tad.
Mill is stupid. You don't want to discard estates. You want to trash them from hand when you buy Souk.
Okay, so I think breppert buys a Souk here and wins the game next turn.
I think so. Nah, he still has one estate, but maybe. But it is awkward to
It'll be
have
in
the
his
one
hand.
estate though.
There's like a 1 in 6 chance that the estate is on the bottom, right? And then otherwise he wins the game.
Well, even if it's in hand, that's not ideal because you're not making that money. You're not making 7 from each Souk. You know? So
The
I
first
actually.
Souk you buy will trash the estate.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all good. Yeah, this should do the trick, I think. Oh,
Breppert
Haka,
should
good
have
job. You discarded your estates
uh,
to buy a Souk. Nice work.
yeah, so Breppert will have 9 Souks by the end of this turn, and then that's just the game.
Here we go.
No, 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 no. You should buy a Souk before you keep gambling, right?
It doesn't matter.
Get this estate out of your.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so you buy Souk here. Yeah, and now he's noticed, and then you gamble, and then. It'll be
Okay,
fine. It
you
would
had
work.
another
It won't be
Souk there.
worse if
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Souk
yeah.
were
Okay,
earlier.
it's all
Yeah.
good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Breppert wins
But yeah,
because
he
he
wins.
had more sensible buys. Like I very Haka's play was worse than Silver, legitimately.
So like if
I don't even
you set
understand the
aside 4
vision.
cards with Cage, you play Steward, you buy a Souk, you trash an estate, and then maybe that wins turn 5 for Haka.
Okay, if
I
you
think if he won
see
the
if
Cage
you
opening, it had to
see
be
Cage turn
Cage
3
Rare.
and Steward turn 4, and you can buy a Souk on turn 4, that is good. But there's no guarantee that you can do that, like on turn 4.
Isn't the second A match this season with Gamble Souk? I remember it coming up earlier.
Yes.
I think in an A-League match.
Yes. Weren't you playing that?
Was it me?
I
I
don't
don't think
remember.
so.
Yeah, I definitely was
Maybe it was
commentating
me.
it.
Maybe it was me. I thought I was watching the game. I don't remember.
All right. Well, Brepper's up 3-2, and we're on game 6. Ooh, I like Museum.
Right, yeah, Silos in Church sounds lovely.
However, Haka prefers Double Church, but that is what Brepper does.
Double Church also sounds okay. I'm not sure if that's better or worse than Silos Church. Probably you're getting 2 churches and 1 Silos in some order.
Do you use the silos here as Brepper? It's kind of nice to be able to like just set aside. Well, I guess it all worked out. Yeah, you do 2, so you trigger a shuffle here. That worked out very perfectly for Brepper. That was great.
Yeah, with Silos, it's really nice to have 4 cards or fewer left, because then you pitch all your coppers and they don't go back into the shuffle.
Now they need to see their second church here. They do. I guess you buy a pawn, whatever.
Oh, I thought Tracer was recommending Forge, but no, he was commenting on Haka getting Forge, which seems surely wrong to me, right? I don't like the Forge.
There's a dearth of good 4-cost cards, that's for sure.
So how do we get a village so that we can improve this Forge into a province?
Whoa. Haka chose not to set aside another estate, so they're gonna probably just forge a single copper into a pawn? Or a single estate into a pawn? Interesting.
If we had Silos, this would be a much nicer looking turn for Haka.
Would it, though? I think they want to
So you
trash
put
all
the
their
coppers and
coppers.
trash a bunch of estates. Don't you want to trash your estates even more?
No, because Haka chose not to set aside an extra estate. They had that option. So this was their plan.
Why?
I think they're going to forge a second church and the estate into a spices, would be my guess.
Yes.
I think that's the best thing to do from Haka's position. It's an interesting position to be in, but here we are. What are we doing in this kingdom, by the way?
Big money.
Because we don't have a village.
I would have liked to turn 2 estates into a Devil's Workshop.
Devil's Workshop is it can play a pawn, and then the imp can play a pawn, and then the imp can play a terminal.
Yeah, like the Devil's Workshop gains you an imp or two and like a silver or two, and then you force it to something else, and then you got what you needed out of it.
Yeah, that is better if you have a forage, yeah.
Improve would look a whole lot better if there were any villages here.
Yeah. And any 4 costs that you have. Because one, well, yeah.
I
Improve
guess
is great with
that's
4
it.
cost villages, and they are not here.
So that, my guess is the improve just turns itself into a Devil's Workshop.
I'm not sold on Devil's Workshop at all, but maybe. It is kind of nice with Church. You can just set aside a bunch of stuff and get a gold from Devil's Workshop. You obviously want 1 gold in this kingdom at least, since you got a museum. Gotta catch them all.
Yeah, I could see getting a gold once or twice off a Devil's Workshop, set aside a church, play the workshop, get gold, go from there.
Yeah, Breppert's got this
I
kind of
like Devil's
like
Workshop here.
thin double church thing going, so it's definitely interesting.
Okay,
There's the
so
copper
does not.
too. Whoa! The silver
And
mine.
silver mine over spice is also an interesting choice.
Why would you trash
He
that
doesn't play the
copper?
church
Hmm.
because he wants to presumably forge the church this turn.
Yeah. Okay. Pawn and church are gonna turn into something else. Dude, this is so wacky what Hakka's doing. Let's see if this improved becomes a Devil's Workshop. Wait, can it even? Yeah, it can gain anything.
Anything your heart desires.
That costs
As long as
exactly
it costs
4,
exactly 4.
which means
Yeah.
Devil's Workshop.
But any
Yeah,
Devil's Workshop your heart desires, as long as it's on the top of the
Hakka
pile.
has abandoned the museum point they would get from holding onto a copper. This is so Silvermine. This is so interesting. I would
You
have
can get
never
that copper
considered
back
that.
whenever you want.
Yeah, I guess from Silvermine.
I think silver mine looks fine. I think you probably want a silver mine at some point in the game, and then why not get it as soon as possible?
So my thinking on that is, in any game where I don't have a good way to increase
Goodbye,
my
pawn.
hand size, I don't like silvers, and I can't increase my hand size here.
Imp.
Silvers kind of suck. Just throwing that out there.
Silvers are worth 2 victory points.
So we did not get the Devil's Workshop, by the way. This is weird. What are we getting here? Sorry, what is worth victory points?
Silver. It's like
Okay.
a farm.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll play with 1 silver. I got no problem with that.
I'm surprised by the second silver mine. I think 1 silver mine seemed like a good number, followed by spices. Maybe a horn of plenty to gain spices could be defensible.
Yeah, I'm not sold on any
2
silver mines
Two
at
silver
all.
mines is 1 too many. I like the first silver mine. Second silver mine can be a silver yours.
I think I like Breppert's strategy of just get a bunch of spices and then eventually buy provinces. But I can see getting a Devil's Workshop because that gives you some uniques. It's an easy way to get gold, but not anymore. Now you have to give up quite a lot to get gold from Devil's Workshop. So actually, I'm not as sold now. But earlier on, like the very first time Breppert played Improve, I think going to Devil's Workshop would have been a pretty interesting idea. Maybe even good.
I think if you remove Museum, this looks a lot more like Monolithic Spices. I think Museum is enough incentive to play with like a medley of other cards, followed by a bunch of spices.
I agree with that. I don't think Silvermine helps much in that department because now you're just flooding your deck with silver. So,
Yeah, you
like,
can also gain coppers.
Breppert doesn't need to gain copper. He's just going to hold on to a copper. He's got 2 churches.
The name is misleading. It's not only a silver mine.
Coppers are great. Yeah, I don't know. It's like odd to add stuff though, right? Like it is more awkward. I don't know. It's just awkward to add anything. All these terminals. Horn of Plenty doesn't really gain anything good. Like it's actually tough to make Horn of Plenty gain a 5-cost card, and then
I don't think it's that hard to make Horn of Plenty gain a 5. I
Yeah.
think Hakha3's second silver mine could have been a Horn of Plenty, and it would probably gain you a few spices.
Yeah, I certainly would have preferred that. I mean, I think spices maybe would have been even better, but yeah, something other than second silver mine definitely seems correct for Hakha.
What's this forge doing this turn?
Could go silver mine into province.
That seems sensible. Oh, we're not even playing it. Patrol.
Yeah, Hakha doesn't really have. Oh, he's got those two pawns though. That interferes with patrol. Wow, this is a hilarious amount of coppers. That's
Spending 2 coffers to buy a Horn of Plenty. I would have thought if you wanted that Horn of Plenty, you could just like pour your spices into it.
oh, breppert just like isn't trashing copper, like not even once. That seems odd.
Uh, is it? The only time
Yes.
copper actually hurts your deck is if you discard coppers and draw into more coppers and don't find a church to set them aside with. Like, in what scenarios is the copper an actual impediment in this deck that has church and silos and no draw cards?
When you don't find the
I guess
church.
Yeah, you discard the coppers, draw more coppers, and don't find a church to set them aside.
Yeah, that is the situation. Yeah.
Yeah. The downside, of course, is trashing coppers is like -1 card the turn you do it.
Yes. But as we can see here, like, yeah. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird thing. It is like immediately you're penalized for trashing copper, but obviously I think in the long run you benefit. Hey,
Alrighty,
somehow there were two horns of plenty. I missed when that happened.
He's got the Horn of Plenty micro turn set up.
Okay. I think you get some unique here as breppert. I don't think you want to spend all those coffers on province. You might as well get like you could get a silver mine now as breppert. That's fine. You don't I don't like horn that much. Yeah, I like silver mine because that's effectively 4 VP for breppert.
Reminds me of a great joke. How do you catch a unique rabbit?
Go ahead.
Unique up on it. How do you catch a tame rabbit? Tame way.
Oh my god. Need a little time
He
to
enjoyed it so
recover.
much he's speechless.
Yep. Yeah, so I would get a silver mine. I know I was saying I didn't like him earlier, but in this situation, I like getting 4 VP without spending more than one favor. It's coffers, that's what they're called. Yeah, you should probably set the church aside with church. Okay, that's fine. Oh, I don't love that. I don't love that. It might be correct, but I don't love it.
The province?
Yeah. It's just like
She doesn't like the province buy. There must have been something wrong with it.
having only two coffers left. Your deck is not does not have a good average quality because you have 7 copper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you get one more
This improve has
province.
not done anything. Right?
Sorry, say what?
What has this improved on this game?
It has not
I think
improved
it's just
anything.
the terminal silver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 2 VP terminal silver, but you know, a silver would also be 2 VPs.
Does breppert have a silver? I think a silver
No.
would have also been a 2 BP silver.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. That's why I've been
Yeah,
saying
no.
Silvermine is worth 4 VP. Oh, wow.
Okay,
Oh,
so does
wow.
Hakha... What are you buying here?
Province. Maybe province improve.
Poor Devil's Workshop. I thought you were a good card.
I rarely think that.
I think Devil's Workshop is frequently a good card.
I think Devil's Workshop is frequently bought when it's not good.
I think
Ooh.
it's like a 90% of the time you gain Devil's Workshop once in the game.
What are we doing
I
here?
think this is one of the 90%.
Oh, we're just not gaining a silver with this silver mine, but we're not gaining a copper with it either.
I'm confused
Silver's
by
a bad
that.
card.
Don't you want the points? You're behind by 8 points.
I wonder what you do here is
Confused,
breppert.
very confused.
It's just not
Did Hakha
good.
afford to not take points here?
Sorry, what points are you thinking about?
So didn't Hakha have like 10 money and multiple buys?
So, yes, they should have taken an improve.
Like a state copper is 5 extra points.
Oh, estate. Yeah, that's worth points too. This is awkward for breppert. Not gonna lie. I mean, a first duchy is worth a lot of points, but you're going right into a shuffle. Honestly, I think I'd get a silver mine. Gold is fine. Wait, no, that's your first gold. I would have gotten a gold. This looks good, and it might work out, but yeah, I guess you just like church all your cards here. It might work out.
Breppert, presumably you play these coppers, and then if you draw into more coppers, you set those.
Oh god. Yeah, no, you just lose here as breppert. Looks like. This is weird.
Is that a guarantee? Who has the estate?
Well,
Hakha has the estate.
yeah, you take an estate
So
here as breppert, I guess. But Hakha can take a copper.
yeah, this looks like it's gonna be a win for Hakha, even versus an estate. I imagine
Yeah.
Hakha scores more than enough points here.
I think
Oh
breppert
yeah, crit
messed
5, I like
up
that.
when they spent 4 coffers for a province.
I think he just didn't play with quite enough of the kingdom. I like the idea of
Yeah.
just taking a bunch of spices and provincing relatively early, but I think you have to mix in a little bit.
Yep, if you had improved into Devil's Workshop, gotten a gold, maybe gotten an imp, like, certainly gotten a silver, like, I think that would have been better.
This deck is just suffering from museum points. It's just a lot of extra points Hakha's got.
So this horn... Oh yeah, can't gain a duchy, but it's fine.
See, the player with the Devil's Workshop wins the game. What did I tell you?
Oh, that church was totally unnecessary. All right, that's
All right,
3-3. First player 1-6-0.
Darn it. Breppert was supposed to win that last one.
Well,
3-3 is an acceptable
he didn't
result.
listen to your advice. If he had improved into Devil's Workshop,
yeah,
might have all turned out differently. All right. Well,
alrighty.
It's another A-League match. And there will be more in the future. Thanks for joining me in commentary, JNails.
Hasta luego.
Catch y'all later.